Producer, actor, writer, comedian, Lions fan, Penn State fan, Keegan-Michael Key joining us. He's got a new show on Netflix, Friends from College. Also be seeing, you can see him in Horatio. He's Horatio and Hamlet off Broadway.
Wouldn't that be great if you could see me in Horatio? I'd love to do a play called Horatio.
Yeah. I'm going to have to ask Horatio's permission to allow you to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're Horatio and Hamlet off Broadway at the Public Theater. Do you have to work on your dialect, your accent?
It's actually very interesting with this particular show. I was, because my training, I'm a Shakespearean trained actor, and so I got to rehearsal and I started immediately doing what we call a mid-Atlantic dialect, which is to say something like, I'm trying to think of how it would happen. Every word you would say would sound more English. That's what, or like Kate Hepburn. Kate Hepburn was not doing an English accent. She was doing a mid-Atlantic accent. So you're speaking as if you sound like you live in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So you're not English, but you're also not American. So and I was doing that, and the director's like, stop, Keegan, I need one thing from you. I need one thing. I want this to be like the most Keeganist Horatio possible. I want your Midwestern Detroit dialect. I don't want anything. I want it to feel as accessible as possible.
Well, let me hear Detroit.
People. Well, it's this.
Is that Detroit?
It's just this. As opposed to like my cousins who live in Detroit, who would be like, to be or not to be. That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or, it's as opposed to an urban dialect like that. So every time he goes, yeah, you're kind of softening out those R's and the vowels are too understandable. I want you to really just Keeganize it for me. Yeah.
Well, can't we bring Detroit into Hamlet the way we brought rap into Hamilton?
It's exactly. And very often, because what'll happen, you'll see African Americans, we'll all try to do that mid-Atlantic thing. And it's so funny that I'm trying. It's funny, when I'm on stage, I can do the speeches. The pause that you heard earlier was me going, how come I not think of a speech right now? So the difference between Two Nights Together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Bernardo, on their watch in the dead waste in the middle of the night, been thus encountered, a figure like your father appears before them with, you know what I mean? It's like, appears before them and with solemn march goes slow and stately by them. Thrice he walks by their oppressed and fear surprised eyes whilst they, it's all, okay, great. It sounds British. I don't know what the hell's going on.
What is your best accent?
What's my best accent? Probably like impersonating my cousins from the South is probably my favorite one to do. When you're just talking like, hey man, listen, hey, let me ask you a question, man. Hey, I have a friend, I have a cousin who lives in Salt Lake City. He was sometimes, he said, hey man, cuz. He just called me cuz. The ladies, man, I can't get the ladies off of me, man. I'm trying not to get some stuff up in here. But then also, I grew up so close to Canada, and in Canada, we were poor. We didn't have cable.
So Windsor is right across.
Windsor's right across the way.
Yeah.
So half of the Canadian broadcasting you see is British shows. So I grew up doing British and Cockney dialects and stuff, and I learned that from my mom. From my stepmom. My dad's second wife is from the UK.
But then you have The Wire, where you have a lot of British actors who came over.
We were so safe.
Baltimore accent.
Dan, we were so safe for so long. The black American actor was safe for so long. And then frickin' Idris and Chiwetel and Eamon and Lenny, we got your eyes on you guys. And it's the worst. We wrote a Key and Peele sketch about it. It's just like, what? We thought we were safe. White actors screwed.
Yeah.
We're good. We got the corner market. We got the market. We got the corner. We're good to go here.
You didn't keep your eye out
because when I first started watching The Wire, I had no idea half those guys were British. It's like half the Royal Shakespeare Company is on The Wire and doing like really good Baltimore accents.
Yes.
Yeah.
How is that though? Is it easier to do the American accent or a British accent?
Yes, because in our production of Hamlet, we have two actors right now that are both British, and they tell us all the time. They go, you have to remember, 70% of our culture growing up as children was watching American television. You guys don't watch, I watch British television, but I grew up in a place regionally in America where that could happen. You don't, and I was raised by a European. My stepmother is from Ireland. So I'm exposed to that culture. If you live in Dayton, if you live in Truth and Consequences, New Mexico, if you live in Spokane, you're just watching American TV. But so are the Australians and the English. So every young British actress, they all have this like Valley Girl American accent they can do because that's all that they see on TV. I mean, there are people from England who've watched more episodes of Friends than I have. And so it's like,
And you do love Friends.
and I love me some Friends, and I also love Friends from College on Netflix right now.
What do people say to you on the street? You live in New York part-time. If you walk down a block here in the Village.
To this day, here's what in the Village, you get this. In the Village, you get, love your work. And then they keep on going. It's drive-bys. It's all drive-bys in the Village. You get into Midtown, hey, Ron! Hey, it's all the substitute teacher sketch from Key and Peele. And I can't be in Times Square without like a hat, partial plastic surgery, glasses. I need to take a vertebrae out. So I could just completely transform myself.
But those are tourists up here.
That's the problem.
The
locals, especially downtown, it's just like, hey, or construction workers are the best. Like, there's the funny guy. Funny guy, and then you just keep.
Well,
you just keep
I
walking.
used to get, hey, Sports Center dude.
Sports Center,
yeah.
dude. And every day, just to keep me humble, I get at least a good dozen Peele. Peele. Hey man, is that Peele? Is that Peele? And me going down into the subway.
Do you respond to it?
And no, I'm that petty. I do not respond. They go, Peele, Peele. And Jordan one time was sitting on the Upper West Side. He was sitting at a bus stop. I don't know why he was sitting at a bus stop, but he was sitting at a bus stop, just lost in his phone. And this guys drove up in a car with their windows down, and they got to a red light that was just about to turn green. So this guy in the passenger seat goes, Key! And Jordan kind of looks up, and the car, light turns green, car drives away. He just hears about 50 yards off, Peele. And he checked his phone. Guys, I don't think that's Key. Check the Google. Oh, Peele. The guy was crestfallen.
There's a sketch when you guys are talking about movies.
Yes.
Parking cars.
Yes, when we're the valets. You remember?
Yeah.
You talking about the Liam Neesons? Ooh, Liam Neeson's is that's one of our favorite. And then we did one with Liam Neeson. We did one with Liam Neeson. He was great. To hear an Irishman do that is fantastic.
What's the one skit where you went, we can't do this? Did you have to get approval of some of them?
There were sketches that we wanted to do that we didn't do that we got approval for. We got approval for a 9/11 sketch from Comedy Central, and we decided we thought it was inappropriate. We were talking about it. We read it. We went over it. No, it was just this one sketch because it was carte blanche over there. You know how edgy that network can be.
Yeah.
There was one sketch that Jordan had done with one of our writers. They had a 2-person show years and years and years ago, and it's really quite good. It was all of the footage that was on the floor from any 9/11 documentary ever been made. And they were watching a 9/11 documentary one day on the anniversary, and they went, "What footage would be in an interview that would not make it into a 9/11 documentary? Like, are there people who are so sociopathic that they wouldn't know how to be appropriate?" And they wrote that sketch. So it was
my God.
So they wrote that sketch, and we made a documentary of all the stuff cobbled together that would have been on the cutting room floor.
Was it filmed?
We never made it. We never made it. We made, I think probably at the end of the day, we did about 260 sketches, and there's probably about 5 or 6 that never made it on the air. And mostly because we thought they were B pluses and not A's. Not for content, but because of the quality. And that was the one sketch we had never had any idea what the show was going to end up being. So we just kind of went, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like Kennedy. It's like a Kennedy. Like, we still really don't do Kennedy sketches. It's like there's certain things in our American history.
Abe Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln, like we still like every now and again you might do an Abe Lincoln. You might talk about him going to the theater in an improv sketch.
Well, you get the joke of other than that, how did you like the performance, Mrs. Lincoln?
Mrs. Lincoln,
yeah.
right? Other than that, exactly.
Yeah.
Which and still like even like 2% of me blenches even when you say that. That's 100. And you're like, ooh, poor Mary Todd.
I don't know if you and Peele drink, because when we go out to dinner, it feels like we come up with ideas. And, I even go back to some of the greatest albums ever produced were when guys were on drugs.
Derek and the Dominoes, right? Eric Clapton, right?
Yeah, Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd, yeah.
Rolling Stone, Exile on Main Street. But do you guys drink?
We don't. It's funny. For Jordan, for a very long time, I do enjoy alcohol, but we would never like use it. We never use it as a tool.
Okay.
Now there may be a member of the team that has sometimes supplemented their creative input with perhaps marijuana, and to great effect, I may say. I think the entire East-West Bowl sketch.
We're going to talk about that. You know what? Let's take a break. I want to talk about.
Take a break.
Yes, we're going to take a break here. That's called a tease. Still to come. He's Keegan-Michael Key. Friends from College is on Netflix. Also, I did tell, I told Keegan about your run-in with Colby Smulders there.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, dude, yeah, that was brutal.
Tell me. Oh, I know.
Yes.
It happens to the best of us.
So see, okay. Oh wait, after the break.
We're doing a tease,
tease,
guys.
is what it is. We'll continue with Keegan-Michael Key after this on the Dan Patrick Show. Friends from College now on Netflix. You can also be seen playing the role of Horatio and Hamlet off Broadway at the Public Theater. Seton O'Connor had a run-in with one of your co-stars from Friends from College. This is at a Saturday Night Live party.
Yeah, like that rap party after.
Oh, yeah, because Kobe was married to Taran Killam, who was
Correct.
on SNL for several years, yes.
Correct.
So pick up the story from there, Seton O'Connor.
Well, I was like beside myself because it was like that place that you're like, why am I here? How did I get into this? The bass player from Radiohead is getting a drink next to me, and Alec Baldwin's over there. So I was very much in that space and fanboying Taran Killam hard.
Oh, yeah, because he's so good. So funny.
Right, and I'm like, oh my God, dude, this is amazing. Like, can you believe Saturday Night Live? You must love this, whatever. And his wife is standing next to him, and my wife, they're having a conversation, and we sort of cross over and like, hey, so like, what do you do or whatever? She's like, oh, I'm in TV too, and oh yeah, well, you know, he's in New York and I'm in Los Angeles. Oh wow, that must be tough for the family.
Right.
You know, it's sort of like mom on mom, wife on wife, just talking. And my wife's like, so what do you do again? And she's just like, well, I'm on a TV show. And she's like, oh, but what do you do? Like, are you like makeup or production or something? Or whatever? She's like, no, I'm on it. I'm on it. Like, oh, is it anything I ever heard of?
Oh, boy.
And so then, you know, of course, my wife immediately recognized, oh, it's like the biggest show on TV. And like, she's like, I'm sorry, we just don't watch TV a lot. I just don't know. Of course, I know the show, but we don't ever watch TV, though. I'm so sorry.
The thing is, she's so, that one, everything. Talent, beauty, kindness. And the thing is, that's what she'll always, she's very unassuming in that way, Kobe is, that she wouldn't say.
But that sums up how we meet celebrities right there. That's us
it.
right there. It's always awkward.
It's always.
When did you know you were famous?
I think the very first time I was walking down the street, I was walking on like the corner, it was like the corner of Vermont and Prospect in Los Angeles, and a car full of kids was driving the opposite way. And they made the effort to lean out of the window and go, Coach Hines from Mad TV. And that was the first time that had happened. There'd been smatterings of recognitions before that. But that was the first time I went, oh, there's something happening here. Then I can't pinpoint another moment. I mean, that's really kind of one of the moments where I went, oh, someone just leaned out of a car. But then after that, it's not until we started doing, like Jordan and I did a number of live shows at colleges. And you started to realize, oh, there's something.
When they start reciting,
that's a big one, Dan. Is when they start reciting the lines, or they start, or you look on your Twitter and go, what? Oh, these people are really paying attention, because it's such an isolated thing. The difference between being on television and being on stage. It's such an isolated thing.
Then you work with President Obama.
Well, yeah. That's a completely different level. Yeah, that was a completely different level.
But his sense of humor of your sense of humor, like what?
That
compatible?
Very much so, except for that he's very wry and dry with his sense of humor. I wouldn't necessarily describe him as droll. I would very clever and wry though, because sometimes he'll say something and you'll go, oh, that was a joke. Oh yeah, it's like a Blackbird stealth bomber. It's just kind of flying under the radar. But
did you feel like you had to laugh? You know, when you're around a funny guy, feels like you have to laugh a little more.
A little bit. I will say that.
So was it a presidential laugh? When he's not, now that he's not president, would you be laughing at everything you laughed at?
I probably would not be laughing at everything he said, but I would still give him a couple of these. I go, oh, well played.
Oh.
Well played.
But I'm looking at all these. So you impersonated all these characters here: Ludacris, Snoop, Bill Cosby, Al Roker, Terrell Owens, Tyler Perry, Keith Richards. All of these guys.
I'm going to say 50% to 60% of those impressions was the amazing work of our makeup team.
Okay.
Because I never uttered a word as Keith Richards. 3.5 hours of makeup. I wish we had a picture. I wish I could show you a picture. 3.5 hours of makeup, and I mean everything.
Paulie will find it.
Everything. Ears, eyebrows. They put jowls on me. The makeup was unbelievable, and I never had to utter a word. So it's the best impression I've ever done, and never had to utter a word. But especially Mad TV, which was a highly decorated team. The makeup there was amazing, and we stole one of the makeup artists from that show to Dookie and Peele. and it was amazing. So most of those impressions were the makeup team.
We're also talking about the East-West Bowl game, where the player introductions.
Yeah.
Where'd the idea come from?
Okay, so we were sitting in the office one day, and Jordan says to me, he goes, he would play Madden all the time, and he was not a huge football fan. He wasn't a football fan, but just happened to like Madden. And he said, Keegan, did you know that there is an offensive lineman who plays for the New York Jets, and his name is DeBrickashaw Ferguson? And I went, oh yeah. And he said, my man's name is DeBrickashaw. And I went, oh, my darling Jordan. That's the tip of the iceberg, bro. DeBrickashaw may as well be John Smith compared to some of the people out there playing football. So he was like, really? And I said, oh, yeah, check. Like, there are players who have very colorful names. So one day, a week later, I stroll into the office, and Danny just like this, he just hands me a script. And I take the script, and I'm just like, what's this? And I'm just going through, and there's this cavalcade of names. And I'm just going, okay, so let's just make this. When did you write this? He goes, oh, no, I was kind of toying around with it last night. Last night? And he said, and then I just had some thoughts. And then he wrote the whole thing. And I think maybe, I can't remember, maybe I contributed Dan Smith, the guy who went to BYU at the end. But other than that, he wrote every single one of those names.
And then you had Clinton Dix.
Clinton Dix.
As Clinton Dix.
Frosty Rucker, Ismaili Kitchen, and DeBrickashaw. DeBrickashaw did that for us. And then somebody else. Ismaili Kitchen is a fantastic name. That is a fantastic name. Silverberry Mouton. I applaud, and this is not even sarcasm. I applaud the imagination of these women, because they want their babies to be individuals in the world. Now, there are some people I think who have names where it's kind of hard to live up to a name. I mean, it's something. If you're going to name your child Peerless Price, that's the name. That's like something. That's like you came out of the womb with a goal.
God Sham God.
God Sham God was the one I was trying to think of. God Sham God. Yeah. Hey, the name. You've got something to aspire to.
But then you came up with McCringleberry.
Yeah, so Jordan came up with it. Jordan made sure to put in schools that were important to me. So he put in Wayne State, he put in Adams State, he put in Penn State. And when I went to go do our homecoming a couple years ago, I had a McCringleberry jersey, and it was insane. It was absolutely insane. It's really the love that I get from my alma mater is really love.
But was Antonio Brown imitating McCringleberry when he got flagged the three pump?
The funny thing about his three pump is he was doing a back three pump, right? So he's doing.
Okay, here we go. There we go.
And McCringleberry's doing.
That was a reverse.
Pause it. And I was like, okay, Antonio, you get points for creativity there for doing the and double reversed it. But you know who did it? It was Kenny Britt and Lance Moore. They for real did it. Lance Moore was the first one to really do it. Scored a touchdown. Kenny Britt runs next to him, takes his diaper, right? And he stands there. He did the form was perfect. And Kenny Britt even threw the flag, which was
You should go
I'll
to
pay their fine. Jordan and I paid Von Miller's fine because he had perfect form on the three pump.
How much was that?
$15,000. So we just both gave like $7,000 to his foundation in Denver for the kids. They get the glasses for the kids.
Oh yeah,
he's a good guy. Good guy, Von Miller. Great form.
I love that. I love the skit because Peele is looking. He's waiting. He's down on his knees. He's waiting. I'm gonna. If you pump one, what? Throw the flag.
It's just. It was. Jordan is so amazing because the way I've always kind of described Jordan creatively is like if you had a vase of roses, a dozen roses, everybody, there's 100 people in the room, 99 people would say, look at that gorgeous bouquet of roses. Jordan would say, I wonder if that vase was made in Taiwan. It's like that's the difference between Jordan Peele and everybody. He's very considered the way he thinks, and his observations are. He's quite brilliant.
Drama or comedy tougher?
Comedy, much tougher, because what you're trying to do in comedy is, whilst you're in character, There's a little Shakespeare.
No, I got it.
Whilst,
Oh, no, I got it.
Whilst you're in character, the character doesn't think anything's funny. The actor knows it's funny. So if you're like 75% in character, immersed, 25% of you has to remain perfectly technical because the actor has to get the timing right. The character has to be living truthfully in the given circumstances of the moment, but then you have to ride the line so that you get the timing right. Whereas in drama, you can just slop it out there. You can just open yourself up and just let it go. And that performance is what it is that night. Comedy, it's like please run the same route every time, please. Please, Marvin Jones, please run the route the same way every time. So that it makes it harder because you're trying to be as organic and realistic as you can, and at exactly the same time, maintain the rhythm of the performance, where you don't always have to have the rhythm correct in drama. Every audience coming to see a drama is going to see there's a little wrinkle in the show every night that's going to be a little different. Yeah.
Were you offered a part in Get Out?
I was not. The casting, I think, in Get Out was done absolutely perfectly. I didn't want to have, Jordan had such a perfect idea of what he wanted that piece to be. And he would discuss with me every now and again, I'm thinking about this guy, I'm thinking about that guy. I'm like, ooh, he's good. And then I'd back up. It's just a lovely thing because it has nothing but his fingerprints all over it. You're watching his comic DNA on screen and also his love for horror on screen in a way that you've never seen him before. It's just a masterpiece.
The show is Friends from College, now on Netflix. This is all yours. This is your baby?
No, this is Nick Stoller.
Oh,
this
so
is,
you
this
didn't...
Is, no, now this I'm solely an actor. I'm just a hired gun on this thing.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. I did not create this. Nick Stoller and his wife Francesca Del Banco. Nick Stoller is a really terrific comedy director mostly in film. He did Neighbors and writes a lot of stuff. And he's really quite fantastic. And he was like, "Would you want to come and do this?" I'm like, "I would love to work with you." We had just made the animated film Storks with him, me and Jordan. And it was such a blast, and we have very similar comedic sensibilities. So I really wanted to do it.
Do you want to be a bad guy?
Yes, very well. If for people who've seen the show,
you're not a great guy to start out with, by the way.
Like he's got some flaws.
I mean, you're sleeping with somebody, and you're married to somebody, and she's pregnant.
Right.
Other
exactly.
than that,
yeah. Other than that,
and that's how you start the show.
So there's a lot of issues there that I think were fun to play. Not a bad guy. Also, an actor should never see the character they're playing as a bad guy. There's no way Anthony Hopkins ever for one second thought Hannibal Lecter was evil. Thought Hannibal Lecter was fun and had taste and was smart. And that's how you have to see the character. But to play like a purely evil guy, I would love to do that one day. Either on stage, I haven't done that since like school. I'd love to play a purely despicable person and see how that challenge would roll out.
Best comedy of all time is what? Movie.
For my money, the best comedy of all time is actually Midnight Run. Midnight Run.
Charles Grodin
and Robert De Niro, Dennis Farina.
Don't you think
Yaphet
Torino
Kotto.
is very underrated as a comedian?
I would say this too. It is that I believe is also a capsule in time of De Niro's best ever comedic work. Ever. He's great in King of Comedy.
Meet the Parents too.
I'm sorry. Actually, you're right. Meet the Parents too, because that's a full comedy. A very close second. A fraternal twin, for me, is Young Frankenstein. I mean, you can't really say a comic. I mean, really, Young Frankenstein, I just think pound for pound because the tone is right. But for me, that Marty Brest film, Marty Brest, by the way, a director who I adore because he took movies, he did what we were trying to do with Keanu, which was make a movie that had lots of laughs where the bullets are real. And he did it with Beverly Hills Cop and 48 Hours, and A Midnight Run to me is an absolute masterpiece because they're playing real characters, everything's real, none of the comedy's ever pushed, and it's just, mwah, yeah.
The show, Friends from College. You can see Keegan-Michael Key play a not-so-good guy.
A not-so-good guy.
Yeah, how about that? It's on Netflix, and also, of course, he plays the role of Horatio and Hamlet off-Broadway at Public Theater. Theater. Yeah, I couldn't do it.
The theater.
Now, give us an English accent to break here. So say goodbye in your English, your mid-Atlantic accent.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us here today on the Don. Hold on, stand up again. Start again. Take two. Thank you so much for joining us today here on the Dan Patrick Show. I have been Keegan-Michael Key, thespian, producer, impresario. I thank you, Dan, for your time as I take us to break. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.